In tonight's breaking story, Trump's own officials are begging him to stop this dangerous new nuclear move. That's right, you know it's bad when Donald Trump surrounds himself with yes men and they still say no. How's it going, everybody? Hunter Avallone here with Occupy Democrats. Welcome back to another video. Now, of course, Trump doesn't care much about whether or not his behavior is dangerous. He has no regard whatsoever for the safety of Americans.
I don't remember the name Paul Ingrassia. Perhaps these headlines will help. The 30-year-old Trump diehard saw his nomination to lead the government's whistleblower office collapse just last month after a slew of racist text messages surfaced. It was too much for Senate Republicans, who refused to confirm him. But over at the White House, Ingrassia kept his job as special liaison to the Department of Homeland Security, and today he has a new administration role, Deputy General Counsel at the General Services Administration. Isaac?
I mean, look, I've said it before, I'll say it again. If thinking Nazis are bad makes me a biased reporter, I guess I'm a biased reporter. This doesn't seem that complicated, right? This guy said that he has a little bit of a Nazi streak in him. A lot of other comments were in those text messages that Politico had the reporting on. It is just sort of astounding that this is job number 3 that he has been offered in the Trump administration. It speaks to a feeling apparently that people have in the Trump administration that this is not disqualifying, and I think unfortunately that goes beyond Ingrassia. We see it with what's happening at the Heritage Foundation, what's happening with the Tucker Carlson and talking to Nick Fuentes.
And if that's not enough, Trump's economic policies are clearly dangerous.
Farmers say their businesses have been taking a hit on these ongoing trade wars, and WRL's Flynn Snyder spoke with one of them who says the volatility is putting his crops at risk.
My great-grandfather bought land across the road.
For more than a century, Pender Sharp's family has called this Wilson County farm home.
This is my life, my livelihood. I'm 74 years old. I'm on this farm every morning at 6:30.
Sharp fears those early mornings could soon be a thing of the past. He says the trade war and President Donald Trump's tariffs are threatening his crops and profits.
Our tobacco that we're selling is bringing, in some cases, 75 cents a pound less than it did last year when China was buying. China's not in our market because of tariffs now.
Sharp and other farmers voiced their concerns to Democratic Senate hopeful Roy Cooper at a campaign event. The former governor was pressed about how he would fix the issue, even if the GOP keeps Senate control in 2026.
The first thing we have to do is to get back this tariff authority that the Constitution gives to the legislative branch to go back to working on trade deals that really work.
And now Trump's own officials just begged him to stop this dangerous nuclear move. That's right, take a look at this breaking story.
We have exclusive new reporting. CNN is learning top energy and nuclear officials are planning to meet at the White House in the coming days in an attempt to dissuade President Trump from resuming testing of the nation's nuclear weapons. It's the latest sign of fallout after President Trump instructed officials via social media to resume testing of nuclear weapons. I want to bring in CNN's Betsy Klein to talk about this. Betsy, what are these officials saying?
Well, Brianna, you might remember that absolutely stunning announcement from President Trump on social media just moments before he was set to meet with China's leader Xi Jinping in Asia just a couple of weeks ago, that he was directing the Pentagon to immediately begin testing of U.S. nuclear weapons on an equal basis. And that would mark a major shift in U.S. policy. The U.S. has not tested nuclear weapons since about 1992 during the Clinton administration. The U.S. does today, however, test every part of its nuclear weapons systems except for the explosive material in those nuclear weapons. Trump recently told 60 Minutes when asked about this that he was doing so because Russia's President Vladimir Putin had announced that Russia had successfully tested a Poseidon nuclear torpedo, and he said, I don't want to be the only country that doesn't test. But now we are learning that top energy and nuclear officials are set to brief the White House and the National Security Security Council in the coming days, an attempt to steer the president away from this. Two sources familiar with the matter say that Energy Secretary Chris Wright, along with the National Nuclear Security Administration leader Brandon Williams, as well as officials from the U.S. National Laboratories, are planning to inform the White House in this meeting that they do not think that blowing up weapons for nuclear testing is a tenable strategy. These officials, according to one source, are prepared to tell the Trump administration that there's, quote, not going to be any testing, an attempt to steer the White House into what they feel is a more workable plan, according to these sources, that doesn't involve blowing anything up. But a White House official noted that all testing remains on the table. Ultimately, this is going to be the president's decision, but we do expect the president to head this way to Florida in the coming hours. We'll see if he weighs in on this, Brianna.
Thanks so much for watching. Please click that like button and subscribe to Occupy Democrats so that you can stay informed and help us stop Donald Trump.